to move the camera to Patty.
Hi there. From the mountaintops of ancient Lemuria, greetings. Welcome, conscious creators in the love and light of Master Guide Kirael and Kahu Fred Sterling. I can feel the light presence of their truth, trust, and passion. Kahu is on this side, and Kirael on this side. Can you see them? Yes. Say yes. Yes. The legacy of Kirael and Kahu continues on, and I, Patty Athena Sterling, will try to my heart's best to facilitate carrying the conscious creator's legacy forward. Thank you for your support of love and light and your determination to aid your soul during these shifting times. Today's topic, downloads from the tree of knowledge. This topic was inspired by Kahu and Kirael for the purpose of raising your awareness as to the importance of being a conscious creator. In the passion for change, healing happens. If you will, please place your hand on your heart, take a deep breath, and breathe in the magnificent love of Kahu, Kirael, that is so present with us today. Allow yourself to remember Lemuria. And I'm going to read this. This is an excerpt from this book. Your Kirael, Lemurian Legacy for the Great Shift. The experience of the purple forest and the mother tree. I would like you to see the beauty of this world called Lemuria. Excuse me, can we focus Susanna, we have to be united. Can you focus? Okay. The experience, close your eyes, put your hands on your heart. You likely would have downloads from this reading. I read you an excerpt from Kirael, Lemurian Legacy for the Great Shift. I would like you to see the beauty of this world called Lemuria. Very near the center of this wonderful continent was the most beautiful and vibrant purple forest. A forest so powerful that the beings that entered it were changed almost instantly. The animals became stronger. The humans became more knowledgeable. The plant weed grew in the greater power and strength. This is where it all began. For one day, as all of the beings on Lemuria were so gently interacting with each other, wandering through life itself, it was as though the skies opened and they heard the voices of the combined angels and guides that were sent to look over this beautiful expanse. They spoke on the winds of sound itself, and every being would hear them clearly at the same time. The same words, the same understanding. They told of the great story of the Creator, of how each being had come to be. The Lemurians were reminded of the beauty from which and the reasons they had been created, for each was to evolve to its greatest potential. The angels and guides spoke of this great forest of the purple tree leaves, and they said that within the very center of this forest was a great tree, which the Creator was so proud to have made. It is said that it reached from the earth itself up to the sky, so high that the top could not be seen. More importantly, the roots of this tree went down into the very breadth of the breast of Mother Earth herself, reaching through the different layers and levels, coming out on different continents, making their own tree. The tree we speak of is the one that we try to bring to our vision, must be seen as the most special part of the plant weave. This voice of angels and guides combined, heard by all on Lemuria, and said that 12 Lemurian beings had been chosen to make the trek to find this beautiful tree. It was not known except by the 12 who they were, and they immediately began their journey. They traveled from very far point. It took a very long time for them to even get close. And once they entered to this beautiful purple forest, the world began to unfold its magical way for them. They seemed to travel the light afoot. It was almost as though they floated across the surface along the floor of this forest. And in this, the speed with which they traveled began to mesmerize the thought system, for they could not totally comprehend how beautiful they were going. They were moving. Take a deep breath. Can you picture yourself in this forest, in front of this mother tree? And see yourself sitting at the very base of this tree. And when you look up as far as your eyes can see, you could barely see the bottom branches. And you know of her magnificence and how far she must have reached, both up into the sky and down into the earth. Now take a deep breath and return your center to your center and focus on this event, Kirael Conscious Creators. And believe that your heart and every cell in your body holds the memories of ancient Lemuria. Hence the purpose of this program. Today, the topic again, downloads from the mother tree of knowledge. Today, joining me today is Gail, behind the camera, and welcoming you, for those of you in the chat room, and Aldine.
Aloha.
Karina.
Aloha.
And Susanna.
Aloha. Welcome.
I remember Kahu and Kirael calling us the ladies. Not the goddesses, but the ladies.
The ladies.
So I welcome all of you today and you in the chat room. We welcome your thoughts as well. You're in the chat room. Ladies, please take a deep breath. Let's take a deep breath together. In loving gratitude, as we weave together with this mother tree on the mountaintops of Lemuria, that we pray and hope you will receive it in unconditional love. Thank you for joining us today again. Love and gratitude for the privilege of your time, and to the new and returning members of Kirael Conscious Creators. Love and gratitude to Gail, who makes this event possible on Earth for how many years, Gail? So many years, yeah?
I don't have enough fingers. Very good. Good answer.
That's good.
We collectively thank you for your commitment to illuminate your truth, trust, and passion to journey onwards during this great shift in consciousness. The journey of love is always about healing on all four bodies, the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. We do the journey together to evolve our love, to age our soul. And together, today we continue our quest as conscious creators to get a deeper understanding of the healing powers of the collective oneness of hearts. We collectively stand in our truth, trust, and passion. We shift our personal worlds and the planet. And even though we have a collective oneness, that's our goal, but each of us here have our own interpretation, right, of what we read from Kirael's wisdom. So that I wanted to bring that out, because since since Kahu left this earth plane and we've been having this path, I've learned so much from this lady. You know, these ladies are filled with wisdom. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So, and you in the chat room, if you have, please share your wisdom about this topic, downloads from Mother Tree, because I think it's time. I didn't pick this topic. I never do. It was always, I asked Kahu and I asked Kirael, okay, what would you like to as your topic this time? I'm only the messenger. And then through couple of sleep state programming, meeting them in sleep state, walking between worlds, and I finally and they would say, open the book, and there it is. So that's how magic it is, right? Amazing, amazing. So I think it's time to to raise our understanding of this Mother Tree that we seem connected to, although, sometimes we don't have time to, because there's so many things to do in this earth plane. But it's time to prepare for, I think these topics that we've chosen is helping me at least prepare for 2025, which is a 9-year, which is a completion year. And so we prepare for that. I hope we're still here by then. It's not about doom and gloom. We mentioned this, before Kahu left, he always told me something about 2025, so because I thought he would always be right next to me forever in the physical world. I never really questioned, because I always thought that when the time comes, then he will let me know. But, he had to fulfill his obligations, if I may say that, his blueprint away from this by not having a physical form here, and I understand that, but I still miss him. But he's there, more available to me. His love, his wisdom, both him and Kirael. I just call on them, and he's there. They're there. Oh yes, I get scoldings. I get scoldings, like I did when they were here, But what an honor this life has been for me. So we're still together in heart. That's Master Kirael and Kahu always tells me, we might not have the physical there, but we're together in heart. So the more I journey forward to rethink my life here on earth, the more what they're saying is true. So together we continue our quest as conscious creators to get a deeper understanding of the healing powers of the collective of oneness. And so I'm so happy for you ladies, my sisters, and let us begin. Karina, would you like to read, or one of you, would you like to read the write-up of Kirael?
Yes. This one right here.
Yes.
Okay. So this is from the chapter 4 that Patty Thena was reading from just before. Transferring knowledge using downloads. The Lemurians learned to transfer their knowledge from one to the other by something that today you call downloads. In this, there was no chance of changing the outcome, for the download was pure in its own awareness. Some of you today are already experiencing these downloads of information, and in present time, you'll understand that you don't get a chance to change everything as you're getting it. The information is simply downloaded into your consciousness. There are times when these downloads become almost unnerving, because you would much rather think that you know everything there is to know. But then the download happens. You must remember that you are evolutionary, and evolutionary beings are meant to simply keep moving forward. In that light, my friends, the Lemurian learned to trust, just as one day you will as well. What they were learning from their encounter with the Tree of Knowledge, or the Mother Tree, was by most standards well beyond what the mortal mind could possibly compute. For the most part, in your current way of deciphering information, you use the basic 5 senses. In their time, they were much more adept at employing the 6th sense. In this, it is my pleasure to remind you that the great mother tree was used by the Creator as a conduit, knowing that in its own light it desired to pass on all the knowledge of time. In that manner, the Creator could keep the first council focused and learning as one. They learned in the harmony of the world, of living together and living with all the weaves present in the world at that time, for this gave them the greatest knowledge. Though they learned as one, they still were allowed to bring all of their beingness to bear. They learned that a world could live in peace and that they could be free because they could feel the beat of each other's heart. In this feeling, they saw the need to unite in freedom of choice, not in bettering one another, but of following the path of moving as one. And this is where it becomes so important, my friends. Some of the things that you'll be responsible for learning under this new understanding called the Great Shift are similar to what these great counselors were made aware of at the time. You see, the Creator has a great need to move itself forth at a much more rapid pace. And in order that it can do that, there must be a unified feeling, a unified thought, an understanding that everything has a place, and within that place it survives. Everything is part of a journey, and a journey of great unfolding. The words of Master Guide Kirael.
Perfect.
My heart is
Just amazing.
it's recalibrating. How about you guys out there? Okay, so you done your homework, right, ladies? And so what can you share?
We got our download.
You got your download. All right.
We got our download.
All day.
Homework was downloaded.
I recently, like yesterday, watched part of Avatar: The Way of the Water. And while I was watching it, I recall the first Avatar where there was the mother tree, and then the people would be around the mother tree,
Yeah.
and then they would get their tails and they had those thingies and hook into the mother tree, and how they would get downloads. And so I was inspired to watch The Way of the Water because the mother tree's in the water now, right? Mother tree's in the water. Anyways, I don't want to be one of those spoiler alerts. There's a time towards the end where the parents of one of the boys have to hook onto the mother tree, and they hook onto the mother tree, and they are remembering in the present their life with this boy who is now amongst those within the energy of the mother tree. I was trying to not do a spoiler alert if you haven't seen that movie. But anyway, and I thought, every single one of us etherically have a tail like them, and then we have these thingies like this, and then we can hook on to the mother tree, at least in the etheric fabric, anytime we want to. And they say, well, at least one of the teachings is water, because we're saying that the mother tree is residing in water, and this avatar was way of the water. Their mother tree was this big glowing, sparkly, different from the mother tree when they were on the land, when they were in the forest, but she was still big and glowing, and she was a she. And that we all have access to the mother tree because water, at least for me in one of the teachings that I know, is supposed to be attached to our subconscious mind. And we all have subconscious minds. And remember now, etherically, we also have the tail with the thingies. So we can go in and then attach and get all this knowledge.
Remember, I think it was one of our Kirael Conscious creators, maybe a couple years back, where Master Kirael talked about our hair, and it is has nerve endings. It's part of the nervous
body.
system, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Something about the emotional body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And it's water. Emotional body.
yeah, so we might not have a tail, but then in this human body we have this hair, and that's probably why Kahu grew his hair after Master Kirael made the appearance in his life, because he used to have short hair and he used to groom his hair. I mean, put hairspray
Wax
and was very meticulous about. And then when Kirael, he started to be the medium for Kirael, he just grew out his hair
Yeah.
so that. I mean, isn't it amazing? So,
Amazing.
yeah, you're right. We might not have a tail, but
He
we still.
became the Kahu. Yeah.
So everyone realize that you already have these connections, and you can connect to the mother tree and just be open to downloads. And the piece that I think is the hardest part is the trust. You have to trust that the messages that you're receiving are your messages. And we don't always trust.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Trust
If
that.
if you're getting the downloads,
Yeah, you say,
and
oh,
yes, but if you said you trust that it's your downloads, but it's your downloads, so
Or that you're trusting you're even getting a download.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
said
okay.
some people don't even think that. Some people say, oh, it's just my imagination and all that. It's not. It's for real. And Hawaiians call that ho'ailonas, and ho'ailonas, these different messages that are around you all the time, they're there for a purpose. And you need to stop and listen and then put out your feelers and get your
I
download.
think also our the hairs on our skin, they're part of it too,
I
right?
like
And because you
Chicken
talk about
skin.
chicken skin, and you have the hairs,
Going into your emotional body.
Yeah,
like that.
isn't that beautiful?
yes. Anyway,
So-
so that was my download.
So how did that change your life now?
No, it made me better realize that my trust in the downloads that I receive is valid. I have valid trust, and then I trust that I understand, and I put that in quotes because that's not the best word, but understand my enlightenment from those downloads. And that's a good thing. So it's a validation for me. It's a validation.
So I ask you, so the downloads that you get, does that sometimes negates previous learnings?
I would say yes, and I don't know if it's negate or provide additional information for me to change my perspective on whatever the situation is. So I don't know that it negates, because I think everything is expressed at the time it's meant to be expressed. And just as they say, when you're in kindergarten, you learn 1, 2, 3, but then when you get to high school, you learn geometry. It's like a different level of learning. So I don't know if it negates, but it's more, if I add that spin to it, I can understand it in a much broader fashion.
Very nice. So eloquent.
Expansion.
Thank you.
I think for me, it is the enhancement of what you know to begin with.
Good word.
And it's expansion. So as a teacher and a parent, it's kind of like thinking, like when children say, oh, I had a dream. And the parents go, that's not real. That's make-believe. And it's already that's part of the covering up of the veil of what it is. That's their download. That's their intuitiveness. And so at one point, I I stopped using the word, it's just your imagination, that phrase. Because who's to say imagination is real or not real? This is a person's experience. So how I respond to anyone who says, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I had a thought of, and for anyone to say, that's not real, you're making it up, that's kind of like putting this, I want to say, a veil over what the person who is sharing, call it download, call it moment of inspiration, or just calling it, an idea. How often am I responding to people, no matter how old they are, and I am covering up their sense of knowingness, which kind of can help break down the level of trust. So that's where I know Kahu and Master Kiriel after a while said, be careful what you tell people. Be careful of the words you use, and things like that. And so that is my take on how we build trust in self as well as in others.
Well, interesting, you always talk about the child. Is the child, when the child shares their knowingness, is it really, I don't know if it's a download, it's already there, part of their brain. So is that a download? It's already in the brain because in their, you know what I'm saying? So it's not a download per se for them that, a child would say, I saw this angel. Is it a download? No, I don't think so, right?
Well,
what is a download?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, a download used in this context, like what Master Kiriel is saying here, is to me kind of like what we would call a splinter these days. It's like a download of energy that would expand your knowingness. So what I hear you saying, Patty, is the child already has this a certain amount of knowing, right?
Yeah.
But we don't stay there in our lives. We're always evolving, and the way that we evolve is, getting to this topic, is through downloads, and those downloads help us to expand what we know about life. I would say life or the whole cosmos, depending on what we need as a download.
Okay, so that's the question that I have. Is like, for me, it's not a download because we already have it in our cellular memory. If we have it in our cellular memory, and like what I read earlier, that it's already in their cellular memory.
So,
is that a download?
question.
We learn how to access?
So I have a question. So in this, I think I'm not sure if you read that part or not, but I read the chapter, so it's in my mind, that the original council of Lemuria, the first council, was called to the mother tree, and they gravitated there and they joined there all around the tree, and that's where they sat down and received the downloads. So how do you see those downloads that they received at that time?
Okay, maybe that's a different category. Because I know every one of us, you in the chapter and you the listeners, within our cellular memory, we have that ancient wisdom within us. All we have to do is to heal those blocks, so to speak, that prevents us from accessing our knowing, those cellular memories of ancient times, whether it be Lemuria or our Indian, American Indian lives, or our lives in Atlanta, or in Pleiades, in the outer dimensions, So
do you feel that downloads could be something that comes in to allow us to remember what we know in our cellular consciousness, based on what you're saying?
Yes, that could be, but that's another category.
Of download.
Yeah. So
If we take your hypothesis that everyone already has knowledge, because we're all part of God, so we all have it, right? We all have this, and we take it back to the 1960s, where the person who was sitting at the PBX operator's desk had all of these plugs that went into these different holes, and the PBX operator would connect callers by plugging in one line to the other line. So you had a telephone, the telephone had a plug, and then they would plug it in so that that person could talk to the other person. So they would have this PBX operator. Well, I see the PBX operator as the downloader. And the
Okay.
PBX operator is actually, because we're all part of God. So the creator force is saying, I would like to talk to so-and-so. And so the PBX operator, the download, says, okay, and plugs them in, and then ta-da, you get your download.
You have the connection.
So you have that middle
Download
Versus-
is the PBX operator.
Well, that's an interesting concept, right? But why do we need that one?
Well, then
Aspect.
why did the original Lemurians need that download? Because they went there. They were, let's say they were living in a third to fourth dimensional journey like we are. And they were called to the mother tree, and they sat and they received downloads on how to live life in Lemuria, right? And then how to create a council and guide the Lemurian people. So that download, we can speculate on what that download did for them or what it meant for them, right? It expanded their knowing, perhaps, something like that.
So, okay. So there's one way of thinking, download is from outside in. That's one way. And then you're saying, how can it be download if it's already within us?
Mhm.
So that is a definition of what a download is. What if we have, as Master Krill said, we know everything. It's
Yeah,
just a
we
matter
do.
of going to that space of saying, it's in me. I just have to open up my consciousness to say, hey, yeah, I believe that now. I didn't believe it yesterday, but I believe that now. Because I had the question to ask, and now the answer's coming from within. So then, how are we looking at download? Outside down to us? Or can it also be, it's within me, and as I feel more love, then I bring that out?
I think that's helpful for us now.
Yeah.
In the chapter, the council is receiving the download from the mother tree, which is the tree of knowledge, right? So, but what you're saying is that way of looking at it for me is very helpful, because it puts it within my empowerment to expand and to let go of the fears that are keeping me from that awareness, right? And just open to love and know that I'm ready to receive this information from myself. I like that.
Kia?
This is interesting because
Do you have a mic?
No one will be able to hear you. Maybe you want to come stand back here or sit here?
I got everybody else.
Isn't it interesting, this discussion?
Mhm.
I mean, we're already at a new awareness of the different definition of downloads,
Mhm.
yeah?
Sit here.
But I can. Excuse me.
We need to have a guest chair.
Well, the thing is,
Sit, have a seat.
I only realize something right now, and because downloads are a question mark in a sense for me, because Because when you get information, and we call it information, I usually take it as sometimes the way I'm feeling,
Oh, okay.
and sometimes mentally I try to dissect it, and that's what gives me anxiety.
Really?
Yeah.
How interesting.
So anyway, it's interesting how I would say the sleep state programming is more of, I can trust that more than to say the word download. Because you're receiving something in a sense.
In sleep state
In
programming.
sleep state.
Ah.
So,
So when you, before you go to sleep, do you program your sleep state on a particular subject, on a
So, like
particular
I
question?
did something, not to say I was doing an experiment, but for with this one lady, and I just said, okay, you're gonna call me tomorrow. You're gonna call me tomorrow, and then I just went out. For sure enough, without really knowing or the person texted me, and I went, oh my God, texting is just like calling.
So you, instead of downloading, you uploaded that request into the person's brain.
Oh, maybe if you
Yeah.
want to put it that way, yeah,
You could.
yeah. So everything's possible, right?
That's so magic about this world.
Yeah. Anyway, that's how I see it. So,
Ah, cool. Very cool.
um,
Thank you, Gail.
you're welcome.
So now we add upload. We can
Uploads and
upload.
downloads.
That's interesting, because I read this book a long, long time ago about how children learn, and it's the top down and the down up.
Bottom up, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like there's one way of thinking that children need to learn from outside sources so that they'll be more knowledgeable. But then there's the other thinking that they already know. How does a child know that this equation equals this number? And then teacher goes, but you have to prove it. And the child goes, I just know. You know, and the answer is correct. But then there's something, and I'm calling it now the downloads access the conscious awareness from our omniconscious. Like it's there. So is it really a download? It's just like a word we're using
I would
to
call
label.
it our heart's knowing.
Yeah.
It really is. We're really talking about the wisdom of our own hearts. Yeah.
The
We just-
wisdom of our own hearts. What about the wisdom of ourselves?
of ourselves.
Lemurian,
Well,
yeah.
that's connected into our hearts, isn't it? I mean, that's our cellular consciousness, and that, as signature cell healers, we know that the cellular consciousness, as we do the 5 breath self-healing meditation, that we activate the blueprint in the pineal gland and in the cellular consciousness and in the heart, right?
So where I am right now is like, if I think everybody have access to a download and upload of whatever you might call it. It's a knowing, a knowing, right? And just because it's different from, like here, we're all different, right? I have my own definition of what the download is, and have you heard from these 4 other ladies? That's so different from mine, but that's okay. I think it's okay. What I used when I traveled with my goddess sisters in the early years, we used to go and do hook removal, and every chance I had to put my back against a tree, And that tree would take me on a journey. Incredible, incredible. I remember a willow tree when we were up in an Indian territory, and somewhere in the Niagara Falls. I put my back against a willow tree. It was so beautiful. And my God, you talk about download.
Right.
Wow.
That's a really good point, because when you talk about Mother Tree, when you were reading this, or you chose this chapter, I thought about the time when we did the Kahu and Kirael cruise, and we were cruising the Hawaiian Islands, and some of you listening might have been on that cruise, and we actually had the coordinates from Master Kirael of where the Mother Tree is off of Hawaii Island, and so we found out when we would, from the captain, when we would be closest, and had a meditation event at that time.
Fabulous.
So we could meditate. But what I remember is that even though Mother Tree is below the water, like you were talking about, the roots of Mother Tree go deep into Mother Earth and are connected to all the plant weave now. So whatever tree we lean our back up against, we're tapping into the wisdom of the Mother Tree, which is the wisdom of all that is, really.
Well, the wisdom, the 4 or 5 of us here, just when we tap into that wisdom, it might be different, It might be different, but when we share with each other what we get, what our knowledge from the tree, we come together. It's like putting pieces of the puzzle together, and then when we share with each other, we see a broader picture of what the Mother Tree is about, right?
I think that goes back to what you were reading about in the chapter, that the council was around the Mother Tree. They were different council members. I feel it was the first goddess council, that they were goddess energies, and they were receiving that, and based on their color or their vibration or whoever they are, they ended up, I think you highlighted that, Sue, I saw that, that they transferred downloads to each other. So in that, they're putting the pieces together to create the first Lemurian society. Beautiful.
I'm getting goosebumps, chicken skin. As you're talking, because we all come with our own, because this is, I kept thinking as I was reading the chapter and getting ready, it's related to our blueprint, which we talked about before. In our blueprint, we said we're going to do X, Y, Z, A, B, C, and then we're going to live this human life so that we can gain perspective of our blueprint. But in my blueprint, even though we're in the same family, my experience of our family was different than your experience of our family. But when we start talking about your experience and my experience, I go, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But then it gives me a whole picture, not whole picture, but it gives me an expanded view on the blueprint of our family. And so you had mentioned something about expanded awareness, and I'm just thinking am I making this too complicated?
What, too complicated?
About downloads, understanding downloads. Because in its simplicity, Master Kirael said in the beginning, transferring knowledge using downloads. The Lemurians learned to transfer their knowledge from one to the other by something that today is called downloads. So the downloads is the sharing. We have the awareness of, this feels important right now. Oh, I would like to share it with somebody who's willing to listen.
Perhaps.
Or you could even do it in sleep state programming, right?
Perhaps I'm thinking this, download is ones that we don't have in our cellular memory within the cells. When we have that download, it means a new journey for us, So we experience that download, we experience the downloads and giving us a more expansive understanding of how our universe works. Do you have somebody comment?
How about the comment from Heyoka there?
I'd love to hear
That
from
was good.
others.
Anyway, this person knows who we are, and
Good.
his name was Sean White,
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
and he's going by the name Hayoka.
Did you say Sean White?
Mhm. So what was the comment?
Yeah.
Everything is always available in the universe. Sea of knowledge. Words get in the way sometimes. Your higher self. Your higher self will download to you when you are ready.
I like that. Because that's kind of along the lines of what you're saying, is that maybe we come to a new layer of our blueprint that we're ready. Then,
Yeah.
then it comes up
Right.
for us, right?
Right.
And I was thinking, when you said truth, trust, and passion, was it you who said the trust is the hardest to locate? The trust is like putting your back against the tree, and you trust that at that moment you have that beautiful experience of love and light. And we sometimes make it too.
Can't hear you, Gail, when you're talking. I mean, we can hear you, but they can't.
Okay. I'll just
It's a beautiful thought.
Anyway.
No.
No.
But I
Sorry.
what
I
is
said anything.
what is his new name? His ascent.
Hekoya. Hekoya.
Hekoya. Hi. Hekoya.
Heyok.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that share, because I was thinking along. It's almost like what you shared is like that was a thought that was here, but then my thoughts are here, and so how is your thought and my thoughts merging? And I think that's kind of in simplicity, Master Kiriel might be referring to about transferring knowledge, is that as we share, the realization goes, yeah, I like what he said. That resonates in me. I understand more, and then that's kind of like a download. And maybe the download about the cellular memory is that we get a different perspective of the cellular memory and I'm finding that through the thymus healing code, I'm getting different perspective of the cellular memory. Hey, maybe that wasn't such a traumatic experience after all, that kind of stuff. Maybe I'm seeing that as the lesson that experience has provided me. So,
That's interesting.
Can we ask the question, is our vagus nerve system our mother trees?
That's very cool.
I got that the other night.
You did? Perfect.
Well, I didn't say that. I go, wow, that looks like because for me,
Because it's
when
like
I
a
do,
tree, right?
Yeah.
it branches out, and it adds every time I breathe into the vagus nerve, new branches come out.
Wow, very cool.
That is if you're not energizing your vagus nerve, try it, my gosh. It is, thank you for that. So we are in the weave.
And the other thing, there's a Hawaiian chant that talks about, it's lau ku'u pili mai. So trees are like lau. And so lau ku'u pili mai. So we connect with the tree. Lau ku'u oha oho. That means that we're all family and that we forget that we are family. And so why wouldn't our family be people, because I believe, crystal people, rock people, tree people. That's how I see the hands and feet. That's me. But why wouldn't we be able to learn from others of our family? Because they're our family. And so this whole chant is meant to remind us that we're family. And in the etheric fabric, our family puts information up there which we actually can connect to in ways that we are just not aware of, just because we're not aware of.
What about reflections? Now, what we see in other people, that is the way of what you said, to me at least, connecting. You are, when you reflect love, to me, I can feel it. Wow, that makes me feel good. It makes me open up my journey a little bit more. And I understand, because you reflect that kind of love to me, then I feel safe. Right? Is that what you're sharing within the family?
Yes, so it's a much broader perspective, but there is an element of something that we just don't understand. There is
Right now.
the PBX operator, wherever.
Wait, you're going to lose me in your metaphors.
Well, so if
Stay
we
with
say
one.
the PBX operator is downloads, because that was my thing, right? The PBX operator is the download. But that PBX operator can be in a craft somewhere doing whole bunches of different things that we don't even know. So when we get our downloads, it's coming through a lot of different channels. There's this one conversation that I think it was Greg Braden had with a friend of his who was a musician, and he had created this song. And he asked Greg to listen to it, and Greg listened to it. He goes, "That's a fabulous song. Go ahead. Cut a CD." And the guy said, "No, it's not ready yet." He said, "Really?" He said, "It sounded really good to me." Then 6 months later, or maybe it was a year later, he heard the song on the radio. And so he called his friend. He goes, "Hey, you cut that song." And his friend goes, "What song?" And so Greg told his friend about this song, and it was the same song that his friend had put together. But his friend always thought it wasn't complete. But because he actually created the song went into the etheric fabric, and whoever was paying attention said, "Hey, I like this," and then grabbed it, and then it became manifest in the physical.
Wow.
So there is stuff up here, and I just put it up here because, I don't know, it's nice. There's stuff up here that we just don't know about.
So what you're talking about is what Master Kirael and Kahu have called the omni-consciousness,
Okay.
right? Because it's this omni-awareness that we're all plugged into, right? And,
Plugged into.
and when we do that sleep state programming, for example, or downloads or whatever, right? It's coming from this omni-weave of all life. And it has to do with family, right? Because we are all one in this energy of love that's the omni-consciousness.
I got it. I think the PBX operator for me is my higher self.
Okay.
And that higher self, whenever I request something, and then my higher self will go, "Oh, she's ready," and she plugs it in, whatever I need,
Yeah.
using the operator metaphor.
And so people that are listening might be thinking, well, I don't know if I get those kind of downloads, but maybe you just need to, for yourself, think about, when do you have your ahas, or when do you have these awarenesses that, oh, this is what I know I need to do right now, and maybe it comes after a meditation, or it comes after having a conversation with someone, with a good friend, or your spouse, and then suddenly you have this awareness. Yes, this is what I know I need to do now. Maybe it's easier to understand that way.
I'm thinking that our friend who renamed himself had a download and realized that he is to he has a new name. He has a new essence about him. So I'm starting to learn your name. I'm still going to refer to you as Sean for now.
Well, that's changes is in vibration. Whenever you have, it's like me when I was a kid. I didn't want. I really hated it. Hated my name, because you know what Master Kirael says. You always choose your name. But I didn't like my name, so I gave myself a new name.
Sometimes the parents don't hear it exactly
Yeah.
right, though.
But lately, I've been using my legal name, which is Pasita. So it just comes out, So maybe I'm
And it did.
You're ready.
ready to use that for that vibration.
Yes, because
The
it's
new
beautiful
names
name.
give new vibration. I didn't. When I married Kahu, I didn't even, in Filipino culture, your maiden name becomes your
Middle
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 name.
name. I didn't want that. So it was like, so it just, because to me that my maiden name had a past, which I was ready to release. Interesting.
Yeah, so names are very important. In
Yeah.
fact, what
says in there, yeah.
what was something about the true name, right? The true name.
Wouldn't tell.
Yeah, and I think I agree. What someone presents as their name and says, "This is my name," I sure will call them that name, because that's what they're asking,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I want to go back to what you said about the aha moments, because it's kind of, originally I thought download was, this big download, and I'm going to change my way of thinking, and then I'm going to change my life. But then it's those mini aha moments that can be downloads, because those mini aha moments puts that feeling of, I can see that another way. And
Whatever we're prepared for.
Yeah.
I think if it helps you to say it's a mini aha moment, that's fine. Sometimes they can be giant aha moments. It's just, but what are we ready for?
I think those aha moments are already, you already had the download. And you finally caught up to the download, and you went,
You're ready to know it now.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're ready to integrate it in your everyday life.
Yeah, exactly.
So isn't that wonderful? You call it splinters or whatever. Now I understand splinters even better now.
I think it's more that. I mean, I get that feeling. But
Yeah.
download, to me, the way Master Kiriel's talking about it here.
But that's your
seems to-
understanding,
yeah.
right?
I mean, from the chapter, what I'm
Right.
thinking about with the way he's using downloads, they're really monumental understandings that this council was receiving, right? For the grounding of Lemurian society. So it's a particular word that he's using there to indicate that.
Yeah, for you, the listener, and in the chat room, I encourage you to read this chapter, because it will give you a whole new perspective on why you are here on Earth, on the great ship. My reading, I think this is, I don't know how many times I read this book, but every time I read it again, I have a new understanding of what the information on this book is about. Was it downloaded in Uncle Fred?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Was it downloaded? See here again. Is when you are a medium, is it downloaded first, or it comes direct?
Well, this one, I felt it was direct through
So
the way it was done. And by the way, I mean, if you've read all the other books, you'll find that this one has a different tone
yes,
to it. It's very lyrical. It's very, what can I say, almost poetic in the way it's put together. So I highly recommend.
It's, for me, I loved it because it's kind of like a story, and I could relate to the story form. And a lot of it, what I read resonated to what was going on in my life the first time as developing teacher. and as a new mom. So, and it had all the answers in a story form. So that was great. But
I got a message from Lori Latanda.
Hi, Laurie.
Okay, can you move the mic facing me?
ask if she can hear
I'm
you.
gonna talk loud, yell. Aloha, my sisters. I feel Master Kirael's works, especially his meditations, are downloads for transferring knowledge, which is, yes, already part of our knowing, waiting to be tapped into. Yeah?
Yes.
Agreed. Yes.
Yes.
Well, I just wanted to share, and I'm thinking, was that a download? Because one of my goals is to learn a little bit more about the Hawaiian language. So these Hawaiian words keep popping up.
Oh, beautiful.
And the word that came up, and I got it from an article about education and how educators, 3 schools in Hawaii, are incorporating addressing the climate change in their curriculum. And the word is kilo, K-I-L-O.
Observe.
And there's different definitions, but what the article, what the school that's doing it, they said it's about observing through your senses, seeing the patterns, being open to what you see, smell, think, and even taste. Because they go to the river and they're doing all these studies. And go, how are you going to taste? You know, what are you going to taste in the river? I don't want to taste anything in the river. But this, when you sense something, you'll taste something. Something happens in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it'll be pleasant or
It's
not
connected to
unpleasant.
your
Yeah.
nose, right?
So I just thought it was quite interesting because as you use the concept of kilo and you do all these observations and you start finding the patterns of solutions.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
And then I thought, oh, that's kind of like a download. So these students that are doing this research around this river, they're getting downloads by using this value of kilo.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think that
Beautiful.
downloads, and when they work the downloads with on Earth, I think they're trying to confirm the downloads, the information that they're getting. I think that's what's happening to me.
Oh, these people that she's talking about?
Yes. So they have this knowing, and from this, I think for myself, the knowing that comes from download, and they want to ground it here on the Earth plane. And so that's the research that they are doing, you know, and
You know, that's interesting because Master Kirael in some part of this chapter here talked about the council walking through the forest using not just the 5 senses, but the 6 senses.
Yes.
And that's what it reminded me of when
Yeah.
you were talking. They're using all their senses and even the 6th sense to process that, what they're doing. Observe.
Because now, along the lines, and I'm thinking, what is his name again? Sean's name.
that's okay. That's okay.
Well, it's kind of like with the indigenous cultures. They're starting to download, I guess, using the terminology, they're starting to get information from either the past or, you know, Hawaiians say the past and the future are all.
Or from the elders.
Yeah, they're all walking side by side. So in these programs, this documentary, the people on the leeward side, Waianae Coast, they're starting to get information about planting the indigenous plants that is so-called fire resistant.
Mm.
And that it will help when the forest fire, the fires come on the leeward side.
Mhm.
And then one of the principal of this one school, he said he chopped down these trees on the campus, and the community was going, "What are you doing?" And his explanation is, this is not indigenous to Hawaii and in this place and time. We're going to plant the indigenous plants. that will thrive, that will grow food that we can eat. So that was the explanation of dealing with the climate crisis and how do we sustain ourselves. So now I'm kind of thinking like, oh wow, you know, that the information is coming from other sources. And then the people on the leeward side are putting all this information together. So now they've got what we call a hui, a group that is working on more sustainable to the land, sustainable to the culture.
So doesn't that make you feel better about
Yeah.
about the future of Earth?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I think that's, to me, your story that, oh, people are awakening. So yes, this is a huge Earth. Yes, there's chaos here and there, but there are people finally awakening, like Master Kiriel says,
Yes.
when he first came, like over 30 years ago. I mean, I'm so proud of this group. Yeah, we're already evolving our senses to 6 senses, and we're channeling information. Amazing, amazing. And I see the growth in everyone, and to me, it puts a more positive spin on
I
Earth.
agree. And that's what Master Kiriel always wanted to focus, not focus on the doom and gloom, right? And what you're saying, Sue, also when you were speaking, I was seeing the wisdom of Mother Earth and the wisdom of Mother Tree has always been there.
Yes.
Mother Earth has this wisdom, but what's happened is there's this other type of wisdom that had to go on top of it for a certain amount of time for us to have whatever experiences we wanted to have. Mm-hmm. Now, as we amplify the love and the goddess light, that's lifting now, and we're seeing what was always there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was always there. Always, the Hawaiian wisdom was always there. It was just covered up by whatever other trees or whatever other things were being done. But we're rediscovering, we're reawakening it, I feel.
Well, I'm curious about the Native American culture too. What's happening, you know, on that side as well as the Aborigine, and I feel such respect for Nainoa Thompson with the Polynesian Navigational Society. His goal now is he's listening to him talk as he started from Alaska and going from port to connect to the indigenous people of the land, where they're sharing knowledge. Oh, that's big time download.
So, Sue, don't you think that every one of us have our own specialty? Yeah?
Yeah.
And yes, we're thankful to all those people, all those other groups. The councils, they belong to different councils as we do. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it overwhelms me, you know, to think, oh my God, I have to think about this, I have to think about that, and this and that, and I'm interested in this. But you know what, I've really come to terms with, I'm part of a council. Mm-hmm. And it's, I think I should concentrate on that council that I belong to and try to amplify and help build that council again.
That's beautiful.
You know, to me, I do my work in the ethers. Mm-hmm. Every night I do that, and I meet up with different aspects of etheric light. And so I think, yes, we are grateful for all these people with their specialty. But do you know your specialty? What are you? In Master Kiriel's prayer for the beauty, you come here to express your specialness. Do you know your specialness?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you? And do you? So now I feel that we have to concentrate on what we truly came here to do and help with. Yes, Nainoa Thompson and those people in the leeward side doing all those things. I wish I could be part of the plant weave or the animal weave and this and that, but I feel like I cannot be all of that.
No. What's
So-
interesting is we have a goddess council, and that's where we're expressing, for me myself also, expressing our specialness and what we do. And it's nice to know that there are others out there also expressing their specialness, and that whole voyage that you're talking about is going to circumnavigate Lemuria. So that's a really special thing as well. And it's nice to see other people out there in their knowing and expressing what they need to do.
In their knowing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. You know what I'm finding out? When something comes to you, I'm going to use the word download. When something is downloaded into you and you follow through with that, and you try, and then your 10% brain says, "Are you sure about that?" And you cannot move away from that knowing, no matter how much your left brain question. That's when you know it is trust. You can trust that, right? Don't we all agree with that? Amazing. Now, Laurie Risana, boy, do I respect her knowledge, because her knowledge, she download from the whales. I mean, amazing. And she has, whatever she shares with me, it has a different vibration. A different vibration that I don't feel from too many people, And then I know this one person who thinks she's my cousin. She is so connected to, I think, all the weaves of Mother Earth. Plant weave, the pets, the animal weave. My God, is she so angel. And her heart just goes out there. But she is just, I hope one day she will come to terms with who she is, because she has a life full of turmoils.
Those are challenging journeys for people on Earth, those that are so connected and angelic. Imagine being in the fullness of love and having a third dimensional journey can be super challenging.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Sean, my heart goes to you. Yes, go with the new vibration, your name, and you will learn a lot from it. Or no, not learn. You will open yourself up to more of who you are. And it's not about, to me, it's not about learning new things. Yeah.
It's about evolution.
And putting into practice, like Gail, for example. My goodness, she is so connected to the stars that sometimes it's hard for her to come back down. But she is an awesome healer.
And, can I just say that this is a beautiful thing that anyone can do when you're doing signature cell healing, which I know some of people listening are signature cell healers. Call in the energy of Mother Tree and receive the healing light and channel it through you into your healing of the person, or channel it through yourself and feel that beautiful love that Master Guide Kirael's talking about in this chapter. That's available. It's an energy that's available to all of us.
We have any more comments? No? How about you, Gail? What do you mean that's okay?
How about one of these questions in here?
Amazing, amazing. See, did you learn something new today about yourself?
Yes. Go ahead.
I learned that I like the way I see the world.
Cool.
That's what I learned today.
That's good.
Yep.
That's such a green guy.
Extremely woven with love.
How about you?
Well, appreciate all the shares and the perspectives from the goddess lights here today. That was very helpful to me, and I just love, of course, I love the books from Kahu and Master Kirael, and going back into them is always such a beautiful journey, and I'm grateful for that.
Sue?
I'm going to say I'm learning to trust my downloads. I'm learning to trust that the truth of my experiences are my experiences. And as I share my interpretation of what it means to be human, it may assist people in understanding their humanness, their spiritual self working in this human existence. So we're all in it together. And how do we do that? We share our I knows, our aha moments, and we said, wow, thank you for sharing that. I have a different perspective and I know more about love and life.
Yeah?
I got to hear everyone with different explanation, which is, I think, but I feel that's how the goddess works. The goddess feel the love, feel the light, and they keep this constant movement, and that we feel this movement with so much love and light, and we go home to be part of a family, and then this is part of my family too. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your life.
Beautiful, girl. I love that constant movement.
That's what it is.
Beautiful. Evolutionary.
It's about
And
evolution.
that is truth. So the mother tree has so much more information to access, and it doesn't. What I learned is everyone has their own understanding of the mother tree. It's interesting that lately in this healing bowl, Indian goddess is now part of my being.
Native American?
No,
Or Indian, from India?
India.
Ah, beautiful.
Eastern
It's Indian. And and then also Lady Kuan Yin has, so I need to access that, their knowing. And I know they're all part of Mother Tree, and of course, all goddesses is part of Mother Tree. And we're all goddesses.
Right.
You know, we're creators, and goddess has no gender to me. No gender. It's not a male or a female. And even the movement of feminism is not, to me, about being female. You know, it's about goddess. Goddess is God is. So, in that knowing, I'm excited to be, like you said, expand my knowledge, because I know there's more. And it frees me from my old thinking into expanded knowing. And isn't it interesting that the movies that are coming out confirms a lot of my thoughts? It is amazing. Even the kids, the movies. I just watched this Narwhal on Netflix with my 8-year-old niece and my 4-year-old, and the subject they're talking about is unreal. It's like, whoa, that's spirituality. I mean, so, you know, my age group, they're ready for it. We don't have to be, to me, I don't have to worry about them anymore. Because they come in with more than 17% left brain capacity. What I'm concerned about is bringing my specialness now into this world. That's what I'm concentrating on. And when I expand my love more and more, I think like what this church is about is like heal the self, heal the world. And I have, like Master Kirael used to tell me, you know everything. And I was saying, why am I so miserable then if I know everything?
Oh, they used to say that to me too. You know everything, don't you?
So, I mean, you know, so have fun being third dimensional, have fun being human, but in the prayer for the beauty, Master Kirael says, you are no longer human. You are a light worker. And for me, I changed that light worker to goddess, because lately I've been asking myself, what is a goddess? Although I've been doing the goddess journey for a long time. And I would beat up myself, especially in the last 2 weeks, and say, what do you mean you don't know what a goddess is? But what I'm really asking myself is, how can I expand my goddessness? And I want to let go of what my so-called, what my definition of a goddess that I put in a box so tightly, but I want to expand that box now. So
Can I make a suggestion to everyone and myself? Is when you have a moment, go outside somewhere, take off your shoes, maybe on a patch of grass or even on the dirt, and not concrete, but on the grass or dirt, and just take a deep breath and pull in those golden particles and just send your light through the soles of your feet into Mother Earth and connect with Mother Tree and feel her love for you, and then draw it into your heart and just take that knowing of love and connect that way, and do it anytime you like.
and yes, that's one way. If you go into meditation and say to your higher self, I want to connect to Mother Tree.
Sure.
So, and if your higher self gives you a different avenue on connecting with Mother Tree, do it. Because you can travel remotely. Like I traveled to the EL Valley where I first connected to that tree. And it's always there for me, you know. So, yes, you have a great, Karina, you have a great suggestion, but depend on your higher self because it knows so much about you. And whatever at that moment is always is a way you ask your higher self to say, I want to connect with the Mother Tree. And you plug it in, the PBX, and it'll come to you. So there's so many ways to connect with Mother Tree, as long as you come from your heart. The world is yours. That's the way I see it. So, any more?
I want to share. Sean, I had the memory of you visiting Hawaii and how you love going hiking up in the mountains. So that's part of your cellular memory. You got some downloads that you received when you were here, and more to come as you continue with your new energy. Sending love to you.
Okay. No more? I love that PBX part. And my higher self is the operator.
And don't forget that everyone has vagus nerves. So you already can root yourself when you're standing on the ground through your vagus nerve system, and amazing. Have an amazing time.
And you know what about that vagus nerve? The ringing in my ear? Oh my God, it used to be constant, loud. And ever since I took that, I had this knowing, this download information that I connect my vagus nerve to my organ, the physical. And when I had this knowing to connect the vagus nerve into my ears, the ringing of my ear has decreased. Amazing, this angel nerve. I like to call it angel nerve. So,
From Sean, he said, please say a prayer to end the program. Thank you, Susanna. And Peter sends his love. He took me on that download hike.
Oh,
Oh.
that's nice.
okay, so thank you to Kahu's ladies. You're forever will be called
The lady.
the ladies. And Kahu and Kirael continues to be an extraordinary healers from where they hail. They have not left us at all. So when you need them, just call on them. We each have a very special role in these shifting times, especially now in the next 2 years. We have a piece of the huge puzzle to bring forth. You're specialists to soothe the soul of the people in front of you, comforting them, assuring them that everything is fine and getting better, and that we are always at the right place at the right time, solving the mysteries of our life journey on earth during these shifting times. Thank you for weaving your love with us. Together we provide a shelter for the storm, immersed in the kind of love that gets us through the haze. Imagine a beautiful, beautiful love and life for yourself. And I love this quote from Master Kahu. It says, "Peace becomes the only path when love is the core of evolution. Love is only possible when healing is the focus of a society in search of balance." Mahalo, Kahu Fred. Take the time to connect with your mother tree and expand your light here on earth, expand your knowingness, and be of service to yourself and to the people around you and to Mother Earth. So we are complete. We are ready to begin. Imagine a beautiful life during this shifting times. So many blessings to all of you. We love you.